Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Ones Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody that is a little bit nervous to admit that maybe they did something a little bit foolish, did something that their intuition guided them was probably not a good choice. So they gave into some temptation or they bought into an illusion and decided to invest in a person, or maybe they like bought some stocks they shouldn't have or invested in a company that wasn't real. This is somebody who's saying, oops, maybe even a catfish situation, but let's call in spirit with a little bit of Winchenten. And I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. If you would like a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. I've got that in the description box below for you, as well as right below that, you can find a link in terms of how to join the members. So and we've got a 4 p.m., so in about 2.5 hours, an ad-free members-only live stream for those that are in the stars or the towers. All right. This is the Cult Tarot. What else do we have? The Hermit. Ooh, okay. Well, yeah. So the Hermit is the reference to intuition saying, hey, I feel like that's maybe a bad idea. Like all those times that I thought it was smart to, I don't know, jump in 4-inch heels or climb across a not so sturdy bridge. I don't know, things like that, right? This is someone who I know I've got this intuitive feeling that this is probably a horrible idea, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. And they did. So possibly just their own intuition they or ignored, but it could also have been somebody who literally gave them advice like, that seems like a bad idea. Why would you do that? 6 of Pentacles is in the reverse because now they've ended up with some sort of loss. This could be somebody who spent money and they're regretting it, because the 7 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles in the reverse are definitely related or tied to each other in some way. What else? The Lovers and the 8 of Swords in the reverse. But now there's something that is making it very clear to this individual. I'm going to call them the King of Swords in the reverse. I could call them the Hermit because they had the intuition, but like the whole point is they ignored their intuition. Now they're seeing that their choice was really not a good idea. So there's some consequences for their actions, and they knew there would be. So it's kind of like, they're waiting for someone to say, I told you so. Hey, Key Controller. Hello, Daughter of Saturn. How we doing? You did. We've got the 3 of Wands, Death in the reverse, Ace of Cups. So there's a desire to try to do something to like mitigate this problem or address the situation. With Death in the reverse, it's like, okay, well, I wasn't willing to accept the consequences, or I wasn't willing to like avoid these consequences. So now what can I do to like kind of make it a little bit better? 7 of Pentacles. So we already have a 7 of Pentacles from the first deck, right? But it's literally clarifying the 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. And I said these two were like connected. It feels to me like I know that what I need to do to fix a problem is this. But instead of doing this, I'm going to try like 8 other things. This person, it's like, even though I know I shouldn't have done this, do they like to just make drama for themselves? Page of Wands in the reverse. They refuse to learn this lesson. They keep making the same mistake. We do have the Chariot. So there's a repeated mistake, and at some point we have somebody learning this lesson, but it's like they are always on the cusp of learning that lesson. This is the Earth and Bone Oracle, but I've got to make sure we've got all of them. All right. What else do we have? Hello, Lemonade. How are you doing? Hello, Bitchy Tata. What's going on? Prudence, number 30. Self-assurance, honesty, integrity, perceptiveness, and clear-mindedness. And Apprentice. Higher education, knowledge, beliefs, and wisdom. I think this is finally sinking in for them. I know that I shouldn't have done that. And if I keep doing the same thing, it's not going to solve the problem. So maybe it's time for me to like make some changes. They're contemplating their decisions, their lifestyle. Hey, Matt, how are you doing? What else do we have? The Moon, another 8 of Swords, and the 5 of Swords. Yeah. I mean, I'm tempted to change my mind and say this person is the Hermit after all, because this is someone who's finally admitting to themselves, I'm the problem. Look, it is so easy to find tarot readings on YouTube that will tell you it is always somebody else's fault. And if that's what the channel does, literally every time, then that's not a real source of guidance now, is it? Because we all have to acknowledge that sometimes we're the problem, right? This is someone who's like, oh, am I the villain? Did I put myself in this situation? I did, didn't I? And good for you for doing that. 7 of Swords, clarifying the 7 of Pentacles. So the number 7 could be important. Ooh, and now we have the King of Swords in the upright instead of in the reverse. Okay, so we have like a change in perception. We might even see the Hanged Man come out. I've been sabotaging myself. I've been investing in the wrong things. I've been hanging out with the wrong people. I've been pursuing the wrong career. I've prioritized the wrong things, but it's okay because now I get it. You know, the meme of the guy who's like, yes, yes. 8 of Wands, and it opens all of these doors. I just saw the image of like a clean shower drain after the plumber comes over. This is like, okay, well now things can like actually move. Now things can work because you're not standing in your own way anymore. It just took a little bit of introspection. 5 of Wands in the reverse, King of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. Now we have somebody who's more comfortable with saying, okay, that's probably something I shouldn't have done, but now I can change it. Hello, Archetype. How are you doing? So this is strength because we've got a willingness to look within, to admit, you know what, I might have some things I need to work on, but I can do that. And the best thing about that is I don't have to like wait on anybody else. I can just focus on what I need to do to change. Hello, Laura. How's it going? Oh, dang. Hello, Matt. How's it going? We've got the Tower in the reverse, a change in perspective. I'm not going to hold other people responsible anymore. I've started making changes. I've started listening to my intuition, and I see that it's paying off. The reality is I didn't want to be honest with myself that I had been creating this instability, Temperance in the reverse, but that accountability is powerful or empowering, right? Because then that says, if I don't like my current situation, I have the ability to change it, right? This is the Tarot of the Nile. Hello, Aqua Beauty. How you doing? Hello, Ellen. How's it going? Queen of Wands and the Moon in the reverse with the Page of Swords again. So we just had the Page of Swords here in the reverse. I feel like this is acknowledging that two things can be true at once. I think we've got someone who wanted to believe that people were either good or bad. This is making me think about the last couple of episodes of Matlock with Kathy Bates. If you haven't seen it, it's actually like pretty legit. And she says that two things can be true at once. We have somebody who wanted to believe that the problems were elsewhere, wanted to say, but look at this person, look at what they're doing. They're making my life more difficult, without taking it as far as saying, but I put myself in that situation. I could make changes where I don't have to deal with that person, or I could make changes so that those boundaries are in place and that person can't like do what they do. So again, this is a really important part of healing, being able to acknowledge that there are external and internal obstacles that we face, and we have more control and more power over the ones that are internal. So, like, why not just go ham on that? You know, like this person's like, okay, well, now that I know what the issue is, let's do this. Let's like take care of this, right? Oh, Lord. Queen of Swords, King of Cups in the reverse, and the Ten of Wands in the reverse. So now that they have addressed this, I'm going to call them the King of Swords, keeping in mind, of course, initially they came out as the King of Swords in the reverse, but then they came out as the King of Swords in the upright. I do feel like this Queen of Swords is their energy as well. So we could have Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra in the house. This is somebody who has acknowledged their part in what was frustrating them in their life. They have started to clean up their side of the street, right? They've got their things in process, or they're working on it. But now they're also saying, okay, now that I've taken care of what I needed to, or, you know, I've got that laundry started, right? Now I need to be honest with myself about who around me is making things more difficult than they need to, because it isn't just me. I'm part of the problem, but I also have to be honest about who I'm spending time with, right? Three of Swords in the reverse, Justice in the reverse. Yeah, I think it's not easy for the King of Swords to admit that there's someone in their life that they wanted to see in a better light. But when they're honest with themselves, this is a friend who's a bad influence, a partner that should be an ex, or an ex that should be blocked, maybe a family member that needs to do some healing on their own. This is a realization that there needs to be some separation from somebody who is kind of like dragging them down or keeping them stagnant, even though there's something that they really do love about this person. So whether it's romantic or not, this is not an easy decision to make. Hey, Carrie, how's it going? Thank you, Pichitata. Wow, Lovers in the reverse and the Hierophant in the reverse. I feel somebody had to work on themselves, had to work on some introspection, identify the things that they needed to, maybe different lifestyle, different food, different working out, whatever it is, it's a change. And if you're in a relationship, when you start going through these changes, it's not always easy to maintain that relationship because you get a lot of people that are going to be jealous or feel threatened by the fact that you're working on yourself. They may misconstrue the reason or the motivation for you working on yourself. They may refuse to work on themselves, and that might frustrate you. It's not an easy thing to maintain a relationship when you're going through a dark night of the soul or when you're going through significant spiritual growth and this person's realizing they've got like a best friend or a romantic partner. And it's like, you're kind of doing the same thing that you were doing like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I'm looking to do things different. You're starting to realize what is like incongruent with your life, what just doesn't seem to make it easy for you to make the right choice or easier, right? This is the voyage of the soul. What's going on? Hey, Universal, how you doing? So we've got wisdom, unlock, gateways, key, training, knowledge, and soul power. That's so cool. So as I was reading that, I was thinking it was funny that I just greeted Universal, who spells it S-O-U-L at the end, because we've got soul power at the bottom of that card, and then the universe comes out. That's kind of cool. God, source, intelligence, prayers, support, and above. So our King of Swords is embracing that hermit energy. I might have to go off on my own. I might have to take a different perspective than what I had before, but I'm going to embrace my intuition instead of casting it aside, because I know that even if it's difficult to change the things I need to change, it will improve my mood. It'll put me in a better situation. And I need to be honest about who I surround myself with. Yeah, I really don't like what you're talking about, archetype. That sounds kind of threatening to me. Can you like pull that back a little bit, please? Collective, global, together, united, earth, consciousness, star seeds, and polarity, contrast, resistance, pole, yin and yang, and magnetic. This is when one community starts to feel like you don't actually belong there. Maybe we've been friends for a long time. Maybe we've been like dating for a long time. But if you're not interested in becoming a better person, I'm going to find myself drawn to people that are not you, because I want to be around people that want to be their best selves, right? Hello, Leve. How are you doing? And we've got futuristic. Visions, innovative, crafty, plans, and trendsetter. Yeah. Get used to it. You're going to be a bit of a hermit. Not to say you won't have friends, but you're going to be one of the first to stand up. You're going to be one of the first to speak up. You're going to be one of the first to do something. You're going to be one of the first to call someone out. That's your role. And if you haven't been that way already, I would be a little surprised. This might not be your reading. I feel like this is taking an attribute of yours and applying it in a better way. And you're like, oh, I can do that. Sign me up. All right. This is the Golden Lenormand. I said it sounds like a threat, bro. This is why we do this. You go think about what you've done, man. Like, this is just like a chill reading. You come out here with like, you have a recording of my voice. I mean, number one, there's like 8,000 videos of me on YouTube, but like, stop being weird, bro. Ain't here for that shit. Child, the girl, number 13, my favorite number. And number 26, which is my favorite number times 2. The Bible, the book, wisdom. So this is somebody who's just starting off, able to access that intuition in a more concrete way. Previously, it's like, I know it's there. I can appreciate that there's guidance, but I didn't really buy into it. I didn't like act on it, right? There's a greater respect for that intuition that they have, maybe because they actually listened to it and it paid off. But it does require strength for them to end what they need to walk away from. This could be habits, this could be friendships, this could be a relationship, but finally doing that introspection, finally doing that thing where you challenge yourself to make the changes that you've been thinking about making for a while. Hey, Renee, how are you doing? All right, we'll see. We'll go with the Gypsy Oracle next. What else do we have? I like that, Renee. Yes, valid. What else do we have? This is one of my favorite cards, although it's probably spooky for most. I love the art on it. It does say death, but it's in the reverse. Resisting change, perhaps. Yeah, scholar in the reverse and lover in the reverse. So part of the motivation or the catalyst for the King of Swords to make this like about face or this change in their life, choosing to listen to their intuition and letting go of a lot of the obstacles or the people who have been delaying or prohibiting their personal growth, they're starting to be more honest with themselves about what they know and what they've kind of tuned out. Maybe even hearing advice from people who've passed away. Gift and haughtiness. Yeah. I think this is somebody who has been a little bit uncomfortable because they have some type of clairvoyance or clairsentience. This is like, I don't know, man. Am I feeling what I'm feeling? Am I thinking what I'm thinking? You don't feel like you're like anybody else. And I mean, I would agree with you on that. This King of Swords, whoever you are, we've got the pleasure seekers in the reverse. This could just indicate, you know, there's some struggles in terms of your current social community, not really feeling like you belong or not really feeling like you have similar morals or principles. But I'm getting a Sookie Stackhouse vibe if you are unfamiliar with the Stackhouse books or the True Blood show that was on HBO. What are they calling themselves these days? She could read minds, and it causes a lot of problems for her because her little small town really hated it, right? Didn't want to believe in it or got freaked out by it. I feel like there's a person who could potentially read auras or potentially gets messages via their dreams, maybe even sees the future. It's a struggle to accept that this is a real thing, a real gift. And as a result, it causes some tension or it causes some stagnation. Trying to fit in with other people seems to be a worthwhile goal until it isn't anymore. And then whoever you are, Sicky Stackhouse, whoever you are, King of Swords, you realize, hey, maybe it's actually kind of an awesome thing that I have this intuition. Maybe it's kind of an awesome thing that I have this gift. Maybe I should actually like lean into it and stop pretending that I'm just like everybody else, because I'm not. Exactly. Hello, Taryn. How are you doing? So we have, wow, Mystic Swamp, and I'm pretty sure True Blood is in like set in the swamps of Louisiana. I feel like there's a B in the name, but I can't remember. Maybe it's an S. All right, Mystic Swamp. Deep. Sorry, still trying to remember what that town name is. Hello, Tiana. Deep, dark waters, your reflection you can't see. You won't find yourself if you don't go deep. Spending all of this energy trying to fit in with others instead of admitting I'm actually kind of different, a little bit weird, but in a cool way. And then getting to a point where that switch is flipped, and now I'm going to just embrace who I am and admit that I'm a little bit spooky, I'm a little bit gifted, I'm a little bit I feel like I'm reading for someone who knows things and they don't know how to explain that they know things. Wisdom, shadows, deeper truths. How'd you know that thing? Yes, bon temps, right? It's like a French pronunciation. All right, let's get a few from the situations deck. What else do we have? Karmic. Third party relationship lesson and bounty hunter. Grip, anchor chains weighed down. Now I realize that my efforts to try to be like everyone else or to fit in or make a relationship work that I shouldn't really be making work have been holding me back. But I can release myself from that situation. I do feel like we've got somebody who is rejecting beliefs they've held for a long time or ending a relationship. This could be tied to the post that I made. I don't often do readings via post, but I did one earlier today. We've got sold, moving, physical location change, and come together, reconciliation, spiritual union, and soul contract. With pretending, huh? Yeah. Pretending to fit in or wanting to be like others, staying in a situation that doesn't really support personal growth. This person saying, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm letting go of what has been holding me back. I might even be moving. I might be at least just like venturing out on my own, right? Hello, Michael. How's it going? But this is because we've got somebody who knows there's something else out there for me. There's something else that I'm meant to do with my life. This isn't really it. So motivation, fast moving energy, someone who isn't just like procrastinating anymore. Now they know what their to-do list is and they're moving through it. All right, this is the Fairy Godmother Oracle. I'm glad to hear it. What else do we have? Kindness. Divine love and listening. So because our King of Swords has tapped into their intuition or embraced the gift that they have, we've got a sense that they are able to find others like them, find people who understand them or relate to them. And this divine love, I feel, is more than just the potential for a serious relationship, but also the potential for friends that actually understand where you're coming from or what you're going through. They may have very similar experiences, but we've got the listening card. So it's not all about me. I genuinely want to be like a good friend to you. Then we have fortuity. This is also going to impact the King of Swords in terms of their finances. Choosing a different path, embracing their gift is going to enable them to, or enable you to improve the financial security or the job situation because you're embracing who you really are. All right, let's get a few from the Zodiac fortune telling cards. What else do we have? You have genius thoughts which should be carried through. You are good, but people misunderstand you. A relative is or will be ill, but will recover. Regardless of opposition, you will be successful. And you will be successful, carry through your ideas. Okay, so we've got genius thoughts, which should be carried through. Regardless of opposition, you will be successful, and you will be successful, carry through your ideas. So if you were questioning it, I hope that really just kind of like, makes it clear for you what you're supposed to do. Hello, Realm of Bedlam. Did I say hello to Daughter of Saturn? Hello, Steven. Don't hate me. I gotta go, but I will be back for another reading. And again, a reminder for the stars and the towers that we have a 4 p.m. Central ad-free live stream. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. I'll see you on the next reading.